Hey guys, this is Neek and Bress, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. Today we will be talking about toxic relationships.
Yeah. So when we're talking about toxic relationships, I think we need to do better off defining it because everybody has different versions of what toxic relationship means. And I think tonight what we're mostly talking about is like relationships where you feel worse off than where you first started in that relationship. Um, a relationship that makes you feel like you or everything surrounding that relationship gets worse over time, where you feel like your well-being is threatened in some way, whether that's emotional, psychological, physical. In some way, that relationship is having a extremely negative effect on your well-being. So I would definitely say I have been in toxic relationships. And I have actually, if I'm being honest, I have been a part of like being the toxic person in relationships as well. And I think that's also like really important to be honest with yourself about, if you were also a part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because I definitely feel like when you're dating, I feel like with all the men I meet, if they decide to go into their ex relationships, all of them seem to think they're not the problem. Like all of them seem to be like, yeah, and she was just tripping. But when you talk to the women, you're just like, yeah, something wrong with him, him and his mama. So somebody out here is not being honest about who the toxic person is. And I think, as I've grown and as I've emotionally matured, I'm able to recognize that, like, I was also the toxic person in certain situations, in certain relationships. Not toxic in the same way I think other people have been toxic to me. And I was going to say, because I feel like a lot of my toxicness was unawareness, but I feel like for most people, they're not aware they're being toxic. I think very few people are aware they're toxic.
And deliberately doing it. Yeah, I don't think so. Especially when you're younger at all, really.
Oh, yeah. Because when you're younger, you are just mimicking whatever you saw. It's not until you reach, I would say really like for a lot of people, for our generation, I think like your mid to late 20s that you start being like, yeah, all these relationships I knew growing up are together and they stay forever. But was that a good idea? Should Grandma Ernestine have left him? Should she have pulled the trigger?
Right.
When you get older, I think that happens more because I feel like the more and more women, especially I talk to, like it used to be like, oh, well, I want a relationship like my mom and dad, or I want a relationship like grandpa and grandma. And now more, and women, we used to cook for our men, and men used to not want us to work and be the providers. But I feel like now more and more we're like, hey, yeah, because grandma didn't have an option to leave. Grandma has 7 kids in those, skills.
That's actually new,
yeah. And I think the older you get, the more you start taking out the fantasy and looking at the reality effects and being like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it looks good now because, they survived all the bad stuff, and now we only see them, at 80 something.
Yeah.
But like I think we are like now coming to era where people are more aware when something is not normal, when something is toxic, when something is not like, hey, that's a proper way to love someone. Because now also we have so many examples, you're not just looking at the people in your neighborhood. Now we are able to see people's relationship on reality TV, on YouTube,
Facebook, social media.
More people are going away and moving out their hometowns and stuff. So now you're realizing like, oh, in Ohio, maybe it's a fast thing to like graduate high school, maybe get some college or some training, get married, have kids. And then I moved to Atlanta and it was just like, oh, so all y'all have been in threesomes. Okay. Everybody's poly. All right.
That's what I was about to say. Everybody's poly. I was about to say that too. It's really a thing, like in bigger cities like Houston and Atlanta, and like, yeah, it's a poly thing.
It is. Hey, more power to you guys.
Yeah.
But like, it's a difference, and I think
In Ohio, yeah.
Yeah, and all over the country, you know, there's a certain thing that's more normal for your area.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it's also why I'm a big advocate for people to get outside of their hometown, travel, live somewhere else for a year. The world is so big, and there's so many things outside of what you were taught in your family, in your neighborhood, in your city, in your state, even in your country.
Yeah, I agree.
We will get into that. But yeah, so no, definitely I would say I have been in toxic relationships. More than one. I would definitely say I have been in more than one. Or situationships. Let me say that.
I was about to say, yeah, I agree. Because I haven't been in as many toxic relationships as I have toxic situationships.
Yes. Yeah. I had to clear myself on that because I'm like, no, actually the people I was like, hey, let's see if we can do this whole building a life together thing. Only one was toxic and I was a toxic person in that. But situationships, boy, let me tell you. And I think it's easier to fall into that with situationships because usually both parties are talking to multiple people.
Exactly.
And so it's harder to catch certain stuff until your feelings are now deep in it. And you're like, I've cut off other people. You have more of my attention. You have more of my focus. And it's like, oh, I didn't realize this was a thing. Did you show me before that this was a thing? Like,
yeah. And then like when you talk to other people, yeah, I mean, that's what happens when I like focus my attention just on one person. And I'm like, why didn't I not notice none of this before? That you were a bad communicator, that you do like, you don't pay that much attention to me. Maybe because I was talking to other people too. But then when you start trying to focus for real, you're like, this ain't really what I thought it was, you know?
Because there's a lot of stuff when there's other people, not even only other people. I think this is also why you have people like in our parents' generation that get empty nest syndrome and then they divorce. Because it's like, also just when you have other distractions, there's a lot of stuff that can escape your mind, or it's not a big deal because you're like, look, we gotta figure out how to pay for that college. I'm not about to sit here and keep arguing with you about the TV, you know. But then it's like when all the kids are gone, you know, we're retired, we're this and that, and all I have is you to talk to all day, you know. Now I notice like, bruh, so you just gonna watch The Wire all day? That's it. Like, that's all. You're not gonna pick up a book. You're not gonna figure out what's on CNN. I think that's what happens when you have distractions. And so, yeah, I think it would definitely be more common in situationships. You have other people involved, then slowly y'all both start cutting people off, and then now you just like, I feel like I romanticized you in my head, and now I'm looking at who you really are.
And no filter. And no distractions.
It's scary. And you know what's funny? Over this weekend, I had a conversation with a friend, and he was just saying certain things like, you know, flirtatious type things, and was just like, oh, well, why don't we ever blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bruh, this is working because I don't ask what you do. I don't ask about your day. I don't care if you ask about my day. I don't, you know, I'm not focusing that type of attention on you.
Right.
But I promise you, I feel like if we move to a point where we focus that type of attention on each other, now you probably gonna be good. Because usually, you know, I'm not gonna say that, man. We do. Our male viewership has grown. They're like 38%. So now let me not knock y'all. But in my experience, usually it's good for the male. Like all the experiences that I'm familiar with, it's usually good for the male because a lot of times we really don't do stuff to make them be like, why you not calling me?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you? That's not usually, I think, their normal experience. But as a female, I was like, sir, no, because you don't want me paying attention to what you're doing.
At all, yeah. So,
and I'm just like, I enjoy being your friend. I enjoy hanging out. I enjoy, I was like, but like, I was like, from what I do know, from the little, I have picked up on, I was like, it's going to end up being a problem because I feel like you are the person who is attention and who is, yeah. And so that's a whole thing. Also, I do want to bring up, it's a whole thing where I also believe people don't understand, like when you're just in a situationship, you're talking or whatever, feelings aren't as serious. So when people are like, oh, they changed, it's like, no, I went from casual to caring and put my heart in this.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do that, it's not a matter of people change. It's like, okay, but now I care about things you do.
Actually care, yeah. And before it's just like casual, you don't really care, you don't really notice because it's just like, this is casual, you're giving me the attention I need when I need it, but when you're not, I got somebody else. Or
also, it's usually like y'all have not come to an agreement like, hey, I care about you. There has not been this conversation like feelings and blah blah blah. But it's like, once we take that step and we're like, okay, feelings are involved, I'm going to give this my try. I'm going to sit everybody else on the bench, and I'm making you my LeBron. I'm gonna need you to step up.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's not a change in a person. That's just them changing the status. That's a normal progression of status. And I feel like sometimes people will like meet people in that kind of casual stage and like, yes, this is what I like. And then they want to get serious, but they still want that person to have the casual mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then wonder why it don't match. She was like, no. If you want me to be casual, then we should have stayed casual.
Yeah. And then you might start asking for more, and they're like, but I never gave this before.
Right.
But it's because we were casual.
Yeah. And it's annoying because also I feel like people know, like, what you're doing. I refuse to lead as many people that try to act like they don't understand the difference with that.
Right.
No, it's like you're using it as an excuse because you have to know, like, asking me to come look at houses with you, asking me, is this an area you want to live in? Asking me to meet mom, asking to meet my mom, stuff like, you have to know once we are moving in that direction.
And asking what kind of rings you like, what kind of wedding would you like? Like, they be doing it. I was just like, why are we talking about this again if you're trying to keep me casual?
But you know what's the most annoying part of that? It's a lot of times with people like, you didn't even, that's not even where I was trying to go. You did this yourself.
Yeah, it's their conversation that they brought. Yeah.
I did not ask you to do that.
Yeah.
I did not. So when it gets to that point where the other person is just like, what? Like, I didn't, that's not what we were doing before, blah, 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 blah. Sir, yep, but I also did not ask you to start running your credit score to make sure you could afford a house that I want and to let me know. I didn't ask you to do that. You did that. I didn't ask you to introduce me to your coworkers.
Right.
To tell your mama my baby's name. I didn't ask you to do that. You did that on your own. So now we're here. Blame yourself for where we are.
Right.
Because I feel like also the more and more I talk to like my girlfriends, my guy friends, everybody, it's also starting to feel like more and more too, like women are starting to get to a point where we are like, we're not begging for relationships. We are doing us, and it's feel like more and more it's the men kind of like putting us in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I don't even know if it's like we're becoming more detached, but it's almost like, at least the women in my group, I feel like we are all very like, oh, I'll talk to you, I like you, I'm doing my own thing. And then eventually somebody from that group, somebody's like, no, I'm gonna take the lead, I'm gonna be point guard. Y'all know I don't know sports, so I don't even know what that is.
Like, is that the right one? Basketball. I don't either. I don't know sports.
I feel like that's basketball, but and I feel like that's the person that does
it. Is basketball, but I don't know
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they do
what the significance of it is.
I think they do the stuff. I think like whenever I hear about stuff in basketball, they're like, "It's the point guard." Blah, 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 blah. That's the only position I even know in basketball. So we're gonna say point guard. And like, there's somebody that's like, "Yeah, put me in a game, coach." And we're like, "Oh, okay, well, let me see you dribble up and down the court real quick. Let me see if you."
I didn't know you wanted to be in the game, sir.
First of all, sir, I didn't even know you was on the team. I thought you was in the stands. But
right.
apparently you came with your tryout shoes. Let's go. And then I feel like more of the women, at least in my circles, that's what's happening. Like they are, getting their education. They are trying to start their business. They are trying to progress in their career, and they're dating some people casually. And I'm not saying we don't have feelings. We have people we have feelings for, but I think women are just so tired of men's bullshit that it's like, okay, yeah, but if you ain't making moves, sir, I'm not gonna force you. I'm not gonna bring this up to you. I'm good.
I can keep on going for real.
Yeah. I feel like at least the women in our circles, that's what's happening. And there's a guy that's like, put me in a game, coach. And we're like, And we're like, I did all, I was looking at you when you was in the stands. I was like, dang, he looked like he got running legs. But, I was like, I'm going to let him stay in the stands. You decide to put yourself in. Cool. Now we in this game. And why are you calling timeouts every 5 seconds? Sir, you ain't even do nothing
yet. And that's them pulling away. Like,
right.
But they started though. Like, you started this whole thing. I did it. So it's like.
And not even just the pulling away, just so many toxic games and stuff. And you're just like, sorry, you could have stayed with your ex and did all this. Like, I don't know why.
Or your other females you're dating.
Yeah, other females you're dating.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, y'all.
Toxic.
Clarify. When I say ex, I don't mean like in a took you for your girl type situation. I was speaking of a very specific person that popped in my head. Where every time he did some shit, I was like, I just feel like then you should probably go back to your ex, and she kept tolerating that. I don't understand why you keep being out here. And really
they always be saying I can get anybody back, or I can get this or that. Like, well, not really.
Oh gosh. So okay, y'all know I walk away. That's my hashtag. But
I walked away.
How did y'all resolve that? Oh girl, I walked away. But like it always kills me because one, I'm very upfront with men about that. Like I will walk away from you. I do not do friendships after we end stuff. Like there's no reason for you. Why? No, I take away my access to me. That's the first thing I do. And I feel like I'm very honest with men about that. So it's always interesting to me when I'll meet men that want us to do stuff like that. Like, yeah, my ex still in love with me and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, you should go get her.
And why is that a good thing?
Right?
Like, why are we bragging about that?
And you know what? To me, that's honestly a red flag. I don't even bring up exes unless other people do. Like, I have to bring up, Kari's father, but I don't even get into the relationship.
Yeah.
I just like, oh, we've known each other for a long time. We dated for 4 years. We got engaged a couple times. We actually tried it one time for real. We lived together. Didn't work out. We're friends. We co-parent. Great. Like, that's the spill people get. So it's always weird to me when I run into people and they're just like, yeah, my ex-girl though, she still want me. She told me all the time, I know she wanted to marry me, but I had to do the right thing. I knew I wasn't really. I'm just like, sir, I feel like the fact that you are telling me this is low-key a red flag because I didn't ask. You just said this unprovoked.
And that's how, it seems like I always know so much about everyone's ex, but you could ask me and they don't know anything. Only person they would probably know about is my daughter's dad. But everybody, like, they know nothing. It's because I don't have any reason to brag about it.
Right.
And just as well as you say you can have all your exes, sir, I can have all mine too. But I'm not up here bragging about it.
Girl, my thing is, I don't even know. You know why? Because I cut off their access to me.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're feeling. Why? Because I don't even know what their social media looks like. Do they know what mine look like? No, because they're blocked. And it's not even in a mean thing. It's just like, I try to unblock things, but some of y'all don't know boundaries. So, but yeah, I completely agree. Because to me, when you do that, there's something not healed there.
Yeah.
It's feelings or ego. And I think honestly, a lot of times with the men I meet, it's more ego. It's not even really a feeling thing. It's just more of a, they like knowing. And I think we talked about this a little bit in last week's episode. Because I feel like at one point in time I was talking about things like I've learned from living with 7 boys, my brothers. Men like knowing they have a old faithful.
Yeah.
Men like knowing there's always some girl who they can always fall back on. And so for me, a lot of times when I hear that, I'm just like, oh, so that's your old faithful. That's your plan B. Like if it, after all this time,
they always have at least one.
After all this time, nobody else is going to put up with your bullshit. That's who you're going to go back to. Because that's the person who keeps letting it be known, I will always love you. No. I end shit up like, just so you know, I stopped loving you now. Like,
so it's not going to be always nothing.
I love you. I don't believe, oh gosh, no, I don't believe in that. If I have not birthed you, or you birthed me, or were any part of my creation, I am allowed to stop loving you. That is my belief. I am completely allowed to stop loving you at any point in time without any reason or cause. So okay, I think for me, definitely having a lack of support in relationships was something that I felt led into the toxicity. Not just, I definitely have been let me say situationships more. I definitely have been in situationships where things were going well for me and they could not be happy. And so then I felt the need to like tone down how well things are going for me because things were going good for them. And I'm thinking of 2 people actually, but with one in particular, it was crazy because they were doing great. They had a good career, they had good finances, they had blah, blah, blah. But what I ended up eventually realizing is that they specifically wanted someone that needed them.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys does want that. And my situationship, like, it was a lack of support too, because I'm like getting promotions, getting a house, getting this and that, getting higher credit scores, and then it's just like, but what are you doing? And you're struggling, this and that. And sometimes they don't say it, but actions can speak louder. So it's just like, you never asked me about my house, or you never asked me how that process is going. It's because they don't care, I guess. Like, and that's like a lack of support, and that's a big thing for me. Like, I could be there for you all day, but if I don't feel like you're supporting me at all, like, what am I getting from this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I 100%.
So what am I getting from this? Because I'm very supportive. So it's just like, dang, I be wanting the same back, sir. So yeah, I agree with the lack of support.
And like for me though, like it wasn't even a matter of like he did not care. He cared, but he just didn't care in the right way. Like it made him angry. It made him competitive, which is crazy because I wasn't touching him financially. Like I wasn't touching him financially. Like the type of way he could take his career on a recognition level, finance level, success level is a whole different ballpark of what I do, because the work that we do is more about how can I make an impact for these people?
Yeah.
Whatever population these people are to you. And so it was weird to me when it seemed like it was becoming an issue for him. Like it was like, okay. And again, that's when I had to realize, like, oh, when you met me, you thought, oh, this is perfect because she is smart. I can take her to my circles and she'll fit in. But also, like, I make more money than her. I can take her, she can get mad and I can take her on really, really nice dates. And I can send her $300 flowers when she's mad. Stuff like that, where it was like, because I have that edge, and I think it's also kind of a control thing. Like, if I feel like I'm the one that is the more of the catch in a relationship,
yeah,
then you're gonna work harder for me. I don't have to work harder for you. Just in case any of y'all ever want to date me, know that will not work at all. I feel like I am always the catch in a relationship. And I always am just like, it is so great that you get to meet me. That is so awesome for you. I'm so happy that you get to be loved by me. That it just seems like that would be an amazing experience for you.
I'm never gonna like belittle myself for you.
No, not at all. Another big thing one for me. This one, it went both ways. In one actual relationship, I was the person who was horrible with communication. Mm-hmm. And then there's one particular big situationship I was in where horrible communication was a big part of why we became as toxic as we became to each other.
Yeah.
I would say in the relationship where I was bad, it was just a lot of unhealed wounds that I didn't know what was the source of why I acted the way I acted. Mm-hmm. And it was just like a lot of unhealed wounds, a lot of stuff, a lot of shadow work I hadn't done yet, a lot of me stuff that I had to get through, a lot of going through childhood stuff, trying to get through and realize like, hey, this is why I shut down. I think I've talked about this several times on here. When I get mad or over stressed, I shut down. Like that is my response. And I had to realize like, that was some childhood stuff. The reason I shut down goes all the way back to me being like 6 years old. So now as a grown woman, you telling me to talk, hey, so we got about 30 years of stuff to unpack.
Yeah.
It's not going to, I hate to tell you, it's not going to work in this second right now. You telling me talk. That's not going to make this work. But that's why I really believe I was mainly toxic in that relationship. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to communicate when I was angry. I didn't know how to communicate when I was sad or hurt. I did not believe in letting men know that they had the ability to make you feel vulnerable. That was something that was really big for me. I didn't trust men knowing that they had that ability, that they had the ability to see me in a vulnerable position.
And you said you think that came from childhood?
Oh, I know for a fact that came from childhood.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that came from childhood. Just, I'm trying to think how much of that I want to get into. But for me, again, I grew up with boys. I grew up in a family of boys. My mom had one out of 7 girls. My mom was one out of 7 children. My dad was, we don't know. He was one out of a whole bunch of babies. But he grew up with his mother and as an only child. And each one of my mom's 7 siblings, all of them had at least 4 babies. So out of those 4 babies, it's my generation now. All of us got at least 1. I think I'm the only one with 1. Everybody else got like 3. But out of like our generation, that's a good like 16, 18 of us. It was only 2 of us that were girls.
Yeah.
And so growing up like that, I was around a lot of men, and because they were my cousins and because I was close to them and they loved me, I was able to see certain things. Mm-hmm. They didn't hide from me for filters, but unfortunately, the things I saw really made me be like, oh, men will see your vulnerability and use that against you.
Yeah.
And that's just what I grew up thinking. Like, oh, yeah, no, y'all can be.
You seen it firsthand, so.
Yeah, y'all can be great people. Y'all can be really loving. And I've seen them be loving in great relationships and all this. But I'm also, for every single one of them, I saw that side where it was like, you knew that was her biggest vulnerability and you used that against her at some point. So that was like a really big thing for me. So like that's something I still struggle with now. Like when I feel vulnerable, I shut down, and my brain shuts down and creates a countdown. And that
So when
countdown,
they gonna use it against you?
no, my countdown starts and it's like, all right, Chris, well, you got 2 or 3 months to either find a reason to end this or create one. But it's in it. The moment you trigger that in me, like, you felt my vulnerability. It's feeling like you abusing the fact that you know that. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go looking through some shit. If I don't find some shit, guess what? I'm gonna figure something out to talk about. But that was that toxic me. And looking back now, especially my last major relationship, they were an incredibly sweet person, very understanding. Like every time I was shut down and like I would go somewhere and then like his friends would be at the house because we lived together, and they'd be like, where's Rez? She left in a hurry. And he'd just come like, yeah, she gonna be back. Is something wrong? Yeah. What's wrong? Oh no, she may or may not tell me when she get back. Like it just got to a point that was a part of our relationship.
But did you come back? Because usually you don't.
No, we had a lease together. I had to come back.
No, not like, oh, you left the whole house. I thought you were just left the room. I thought you were saying you'll come back to the group.
You know I'm dramatic, girl. I don't ever just leave the room.
Oh, see, I thought you like just went up to your room, like they was chilling outside. You just went up to the room.
No.
Oh yeah.
Let me clarify for any past stories that you know about me. No, girl, I left that car. I left that room. I left that house.
Yeah, I mean, I already know.
I jumped off the boat and swam back to shore. Like, nope. I left.
You probably would do that.
No.
So you going away in a little lifeboat, lady? Where you going?
Yeah. But no, you know, at one time I actually in that particular relationship, I can't remember what he did. He did something that ticked me off, and I packed a whole bunch of my stuff and I left. And he had came home. I think he was out with his boys or something. I can't remember. And he had came home, and actually he ran upstairs to tell me like, hey, because we used to have this thing at our place that was called Grill and Chill every Sunday. So every Sunday, once everybody was off work, nobody was working, because at the time he was working as a cook, and most of his friends were different soup cooks and stuff around the city, and waitresses and so forth. And so they would all come over. Everybody would bring either alcohol or meat or side. And we had this big grill, and we would just grill all night, drink, and talk, listen to music on a patio. It was cool. It was so fun. It was like, I want to bring that back next time I get a patio. Whatever. But it was a great time. And also where our house was, like right behind the house was a playground. So we would let his oldest niece take our daughter to the playground, and then next to like the patio we had these like double French doors, so we put the play area right in front of the double inch door, so we could have mommy time and daddy time, but also keep our eye on them. And we used to have like these grill and chill. So anyways, it was on Sunday. I think it was like a Saturday or Friday. He was like coming upstairs to ask me like, hey honey, can I do this? Like the boys are here, blah blah blah. I know you gotta work in the morning. Is that gonna be okay? We're gonna keep it low. Whatever. I wasn't there. And he was like, oh, she's not here. And then he called me and he realized his phone got sent to voicemail. And so then he texted me and my bubble was green. So then he from my understanding, he went through all social media forums trying to contact me. And I don't know if it was you or Stephanie. He got hold of one of y'all. And one of y'all told me like, hey, he's looking for you. And I eventually replied back. And I was like, yes. And he's like, where are you? I was like, oh, I got a hotel. What you mean you got a hotel? We got a whole house. Yep, I got a hotel. Okay, and we got into the fight of what that was. And he was just like, how long you gonna be there? I was like, well, I got your card, so you let me know. I was planning to stay a week, so I hope you got a week's worth on this card. And yeah, but he was, and that's when I say I was the toxic person in that relationship, because he every night would come by and bring me dinner
at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I vaguely remember this?
Yeah, this is when I was pregnant. So
okay.
When I was pregnant.
No, I do remember. Yeah. I do remember. Because I was like, you got a hotel? So I said, where you going? Where you going? But I don't know that he reached out to me or something.
He got it from one of y'all. Yeah. And no. And yeah. And then I was so petty that the hotel was like down the street from the house. Like, it was not far at all. And yeah, so he used to go to work, cook, and then he would run over and bring me some food during the lunch. And then at the end of the night, while he was like finishing his stuff, to kind of prep or whatever they need to do for the morning, and he would also make sure he made me a meal, had it somewhere warm, and then stop by my hotel. But again, like, healthy partnership also looks different to different people. But I think there's still a common core, like, okay, but this is not healthy. I don't care who you are. This is not healthy. It reminds me of this girl I went to school with who had a partnership with this dude. I was like, amazed me. Like, he always refer to her as his bitch. And he was just like, yeah. I mean, because if me and my bitch, and he would say it in front of her, and it wouldn't faze her, and I would just be so confused.
I mean, was she like that though? Like, they don't, I don't know.
No, when I asked her about it, she was just like, I mean, that's just how he talk, girl. I was like, all right. And it worked for them, but I was like, I feel like that's not healthy. Mm-hmm. But that's my version of it. For them, it might just be a term of endearance, and it doesn't mean nothing else.
Yeah.
I think also what comes along with bad communication is jealousy. Jealousy probably starts off the bad communication.
Yeah. Jealous of family members, jealous of friends, jealous of anybody who's taken away from their time. It just builds toxic. Whereas you can go back to communication, you could just say that instead of acting out. You know what I mean? I witnessed that in a younger relationship. So I don't ever feel like I was like jealous, because I always was the type that I love you, I'm clingy, but I also need my space. So, like, if you was out with your friends, I'm happy because I can just chill at home and be in my own little zone. But then I dated somebody who always wanted all my time, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be all my time. I have family and friends that I would like to be around. So, yeah, I have definitely experienced that.
Well, jealousy, I had definitely experienced jealousy. But I guess, I don't know. I guess the way I looked at it wasn't jealousy. It was just more like hurt. It was just more hurt. Because I had a situationship where, did all the things, all the plans, all the stuff. So, when you start talking to someone and parents are aware of you guys, you've met all their friends, their work knows you, your work people keep referring to them as at work they keep saying your wife in reference to me. Your mom is asking how my daughter is doing as we're cooking dinner, stuff like that. And so for me, it was like, why are we here in this space? And it's obvious there's some other girl that's here at some point in time when I'm not here. Yeah. And it wasn't, at least to me, it didn't feel like jealousy, because I wasn't angry at the girl, but I was sure the hell was angry at him. Where it was just like, okay, so what are we doing?
What is that? Like, that's jealousy though?
Huh?
I said that's jealousy?
I said I don't think it's jealousy. I think think it's jealousy when it's the other target that you're like, why her? And she ain't even that cute, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying I have been in situations and I was like, but I don't feel like it's jealousy because it was never like, who is she? I didn't ask none of that shit. My thing was, oh, so you out here doing shit. Wait until the person's in love with you, want to be with you, y'all talking about moving in together, all that type of stuff, and then dropping knowledge on them. That's not telling the truth. I really feel like that's a manipulation tactic.
Another big thing for me that is like a huge toxic relationship thing is just people who have no consideration for
with just things that they did.
Yeah.
Where it was like, or even in situationships, it's like, yes, I understand that's not whole relationships, but it's like, you knew that would hurt me. Mm-hmm. So why would you do that?
Yeah.
And to me, if you're in a situationship where the person does something where they know it will hurt you and they still do it anyway, and then you try to throw in your face like, but you shouldn't have even been looking there. You shouldn't have even, throw him away. He trash.
Yeah, are we not in a relationship anyways?
Yeah, throw him away.
The line.
He trash. She trash. He trash. Because to me, it's like, even when people try to do the whole, well, I'm not your girl or you're not my girl type of thing. Once you get to a certain place with somebody, you know that they care for you at that level. And if you care for them at that level, y'all official or not, there's certain things you won't do out of respect for them.
Yeah.
Out of respect for what y'all have.
Especially if you want more, and if you don't, you're just showing that you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And I that's one of the things that really pissed me off is when like a guy's like, yeah, but you know what? If you didn't go looking and snooping and blah blah blah, okay, well guess what? If she looked and snooped and you weren't doing it, she wouldn't have found nothing
at all. Right.
Like I really, really get annoyed, especially when I watch Cheaters. And the people are like, why were you following me in the first place? You was the one doing wrong.
Right. You the one. You gave me a reason to.
Right. Don't focus on the fact that your stuff is burning on our front yard. You will worry about that later. What we're going to focus on is who is she in the white dress. That's what we're focusing on.
Right.
But yeah, I hate that so much because it's like, for me, the reason why I say, girls, guys, leave them, is because to me, a person like that is already showing you from the beginning that they do not value your feelings. That your feelings is at a lower level than their pleasure.
Yeah.
Your comfort is at a lower level than their comfort. And for some people that's fine. They're like, no, put yourself first, blah, blah, blah. No. Put us first. You are a package deal.
Or just stop it. Like, you're not, I don't know.
Yeah. Certain situations, stop it in general.
Like situationships, like, if you know you want to go F all the girls in the city, but you want me, like, just stop it. No, like, just stop it. Like, I can't provide to you what you really want right now. And I don't think, like, I don't know. I don't think you should just keep going.
But also, tell that to people up front, okay? I'm so
that's
tired
what I'm saying.
Hearing stories from our girls or their girls, and it's like, yeah, I mean, he told me, this is not what he wanted. I was like, I didn't even know y'all weren't together. Ain't y'all been dating for like 6 years? Like, yeah, but we weren't in a relationship. I also believe put a limit on that shit. One thing my dad told me that I actually truly believe, because I've seen it happen with my brothers. My dad said a man knows if you're the woman that he wants to be with within 6 months. Now he might know if he's going to propose to you for sure, but he knows if you are the type that he would marry within 6 months. And my dad said a man will know within a year if he's going to marry you.
And if he ain't,
yeah.
It's
Now I do believe that. But I do believe just because now he knows he's going to marry you doesn't mean, okay, he's going to marry you that year. He's going to marry right then. You know, you do have to take account. There are some people like, okay, this is the one I'm going to marry. All right, I'm going to need a year to save for a ring. Or, okay, I want to first make sure I get this, you know, house because her credit is trash. So I'm going to have to get the house in my name. Or, you know, whatever the reason is. But I do believe within that first year, a man knows. And so for me, like, if we're dating, like, and we're saying, like, you know, we're going to date for real. Like, other people we can date, but, like, we're dating with a purpose. We're not high-fiving after you get some Uber Eats and then head into the room. That's not dating. That's a whole other situation. But when we're like, no, we're dating, even if we're dating other people at the time, if we get to 6 months and we're still dating other people, and we can't decide if we want to be together or not, for me, that's my cutoff.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, okay, well, I don't think we're the ones for each other. Because I know me. One, it takes me off. It comes every blue moon that I fall for somebody.
Yeah.
But when I do fall for them, it's not no slow progression that took years. My history in 30 years have so far shown me that no, even though I don't have it often, when it happens, I know. I definitely know by 6 months. Because one, I don't do relationships. Like, I'm not a person that when you go, oh, your relationship, I can't be like, oh, Bobby in 2016. I'm sorry, I can't think of anybody who I actually haven't dated. I'm trying to say a name I haven't dated.
I'm about to say, what's
Thomas.
up with Bobby?
No. I'm trying to think of a name because just like 3 names that like recently dated popped out, and I was like, no, let's not do that.
It's always John, or those are like no. Yeah. Those are the common names that just pop up.
Yeah. But you know, Tommy, Bobby, Mark, Whitney, whatever, you know, they may be around as well, but again, at that 6 marks, whether we have other people around or not, if we are not like, yeah, I don't want to have other people around, I am just enjoying you. For me, that's my cutoff period. If you don't feel that, you can't feel that, that's my cutoff period. That's when I feel like you're on bullshit. I know other women have longer ones, and I feel like
that's a good amount of time, though. That is a good amount of time.
I think so too. Because most of the people I talk to don't last that long.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm proud of you if you make it to month 3.
Yeah.
If we make it to month 3 and I'm still like interested in you, and we still talking, and like both of us are both giving consistency, like you already halfway there, pal.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so for me, it's always been 6 months, and then after that, it's just like, nope, we don't need to do that. I also feel like that's enough time to let you see certain red flags. I know there's definitely stories of women who dated a monster. Things were great the first 3 years, and then all of a sudden this pop out. So I know that's a thing. But also when you watch those documentaries, there were red flags along the way.
They just ignore it. Yeah. But a lot of them do say some type of red flag. Because 3 years is a long time to remain. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely believe in having that cutoff point so you can stop something that was going to be potentially extremely toxic before it gets too far ahead. But also, I think for women especially, that saves us, I think, for a lot of heartbreak. Like, know where your limits are in regards to what you got to deal with for and how long. Okay, you are not, I really like you, I really have feelings for you, I'm falling in love with you, cool, but I want you to know, sir, I'm not putting a limit on it. And you don't even necessarily have to tell him, but as long as you yourself know, like, okay, I'm gonna give you 6 months to figure yourself what we doing, but understand at 6 months I'm done.
You say you can tell him, or you don't? You can mentally say it in your head.
you just mentally say it in your head. So the last person I had that conversation with, I told them, I didn't give him a time frame, but he had brought up something that pissed me off, as he does. And I ended up having a conversation with him where I was like, yo, all that's good, all that's dandy, but understand, I was like, I got that ass on a timeline, and when I get done, I'm done, and I ain't talking to you about shit. All you gonna know is that I got up and left, and you can't reach me now. And he was like, oh, no. I was like, no.
But they don't believe you. They don't believe you now. Yeah. They don't believe you.
This is the one I had to have that ex conversation with. I was like, let me be very clear. Because apparently y'all's thing was to go break up, get back together, go, get back together, break up, get back together. Let me be very clear. No. That's not my thing. That's not my thing. You have to be one hell of a man who I loved, like loved. And you also have to come back with some type of grand gesture. Mm-hmm. So without one, it can't be one without the other.
And they always, you don't really see men coming back with a grand gesture.
No.
At all. So it's like taking them back easily.
Mm-hmm. No.
Which is good that you have those standards for yourself.
Yeah, because I feel like I can't tell you how many times I've heard, and even in the past myself, that have accepted people back with nothing but an apology.
Mm-hmm. Like, or just a call back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So yeah.
And for some people, that's fine. That's great. But for me, if you get me to the point that I'm like, I need to just up and go.
Yeah.
Again, that is my response to stress. So that means you put me in a very stressful situation. Mm-hmm. And I promise you that before you did this, you knew what you're doing.
Exactly.
Because I'm very communicative about that stuff. I'm very open and honest about, hey, these are my issues. Okay? Mm-hmm. These are the things I will and will not tolerate. I'm very upfront and honest about that. So it was like, when you get me to that point, not only did you know what you did, you also were given warning. Mm-hmm. So if you want to come back, I need more than an apology. Huh?
Right. I said probably more than one.
Yeah. You need an apology and a deposit.
Right.
It could be cash. It could be jewelry. It could be half on the mortgage. Like what we doing?
Whatever. What you could pick one.
Yeah. So that's just my personal belief on it. I just think so many men and women let too many people back in their life with nothing but sorry. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, and they keep hurting me. Well, you make it very easy to hurt you.
And because they know it's easy to come back. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you've made it very known that all you have to do is this and this and this, and you will forgive. So, and I also think that's one of those things that keep toxic relationships alive, because another part of it is just easily forgiving and allowing a person back in. So it just continues, and the longer it continues, the more toxic it gets.
Yeah. You know that you're always available. You know what I mean? Like you're always reachable, or they put you in that box. Yeah.
And the biggest one for me, feeling like my needs are ignored. Has always been the main issue in any toxic situation I have been in. Mm-hmm. I feel like because and it's funny, again, same person I was talking to earlier this weekend, I had to tell them the breakdown. Or I was like, look, when I am casual, I am very casual. I'm not asking you about your business. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you where you going this weekend, who you going with. I'm not doing none of that. I'm just, cool. I'm enjoying my time. Please order me another bottle of tequila. I'm just that. Enjoying the present moment with you. But it's like, once I start like, nope, we're moving this out of casual, and I start caring, I anticipate the people that I love needs. I am a type of person who, when I love you, I start noticing stuff about you, and I take pleasure in making your life easier. It's almost like you become a mother, but in a romantic sense. Like, I start noticing that like your wallet is falling apart. And so if I walk by a store that has a really nice wallet, I'm gonna buy it for you and bring it for you on a Tuesday because I saw it and that's like your wallet was falling apart. And it's not out of anything other than like I recognize that this was a need that to be fixed. And again, that goes back to some childhood shit. Like I was the fixer in my childhood.
But I mean, I'm the same way. Like, if you love me correctly, you will get a really great version of me. Like, you don't have to ask me for nothing because I'm already anticipating your need because you're anticipating mine. So it's just easier for you to just love me the right way.
Well, but what I'm saying is that's just my automatic go. Like, once I love you, I automatically do that, even when you aren't loving me the right way. Okay. And then that's how it gets into the feeling that your needs aren't being met. And that's a toxicity for me.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, because it's like I put so much in when I care about people. Whether that be lover or friend, I put a lot in. Once I care about you, I put a lot in. I start anticipating your needs. I start just naturally looking out for you. It's not even a conscious thing anymore. The moment I realize I love you, my unconsciousness starts to look out for you.
Yeah.
So when there's going to be a point where I recognize you don't do that for me. Because at some point, if you keep doing that for someone else and they're not doing it for you, you're going to hit burnout.
Yeah.
And when you hit burnout, you're going to be looking around like, why am I so burnt out? And then you're eventually going to come to the conclusion, oh, yeah, because I'm the only one doing stuff. I'm the only one making sure we are both okay.
Right. And then it just gets to be like too overwhelming and resentment comes in and everything else.
And people really underestimate the fact that resentment will come in, especially if they haven't had it yet. And they're like, no, we've been 5 years of him not doing right by me, and I still love him. And say, no, baby girl, it's gonna come.
It's gonna come.
I don't know why you gonna wait till it gets there, but it's coming.
Yeah. Why would you want to wait? Like,
yes. I don't understand that at all. But there's a lot of things about being in a toxic couple that is like
excitement.
Yeah. Definitely excitement. Okay, so y'all don't tell nobody I said this, okay? Because I will deny it. Matter of fact, this is all hypothetical. But there was a point in time, there was a girl that I knew that would set people's stuff on fire. And for some of those people, it was exciting. She was angry. There was fire. And they left them with a cool story to go tell their homeboys. So, there's definitely some of that where it is excitement for one party or another. But I would imagine for the person setting stuff on fire, that was not excitement. That's just them releasing their anger.
Anger, yeah.
Just like writing in a journal. That's their version of writing in a journal.
Leaving a permanent mark.
Watching them panic. Like, you thought, sir. So have you ever been in a toxic relationship?
Yeah. I mean, I was saying earlier that I was a toxic person in one of my relationships. And then, I thought I didn't have any toxic relationships in in teen years, but thinking now and thinking back, oh, that was toxic, the breakups, makeup, and the cheating in front of you or the back and forth. So I have been in those type of relationships too in high school. And then like as an adult, like the manipulation and like I said earlier, not being on the same wavelength and not understanding that we will never be on the same level because you want two different things but keep on going, or one person trying to manipulate you to stay or guilt trip you or to stay. So yeah, I have been in toxic relationships.
Okay. Definitely.
Especially when you don't know. Like now, I can't see myself really being in a toxic relationship. First of all, I haven't been in that many relationships. I've been in situationships, but I have not been in that many relationships. So now I don't even see myself. I mean, I can't say never, but I know how to manage it more. Or I know how to get out of that situation when it's not fit for me. More when I was younger, I'll keep going, but now I don't have the time to waste to do it, you know. And I am like just over the last 2 years, I'm growing more to know like this isn't fitting for me. And now it's like even situationships, you have to cut those off too.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, I'm learning more, but I definitely went through that period for sure.
Yeah. I definitely went through that period. I would say as a teen, I was in one. And we were both teenagers, and we both really didn't know what it meant to be in a relationship at all. You know, my parents were pastors; they were super strict. So it was like my first experience being in a relationship. And with him, you know, he just had a chaotic family life. So he didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like. And we were toxic. Like, we did the break up, make up, purposely make each other jealous thing. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you remember MySpace is a thing, right? So on MySpace, I was one of those people that had like 10, 20, 30,000 friends. And I don't remember how much, but I had like one of those people that had a lot of them. And he did as well. And he used to be able to post bulletins. And I remember we would break up and he would post bulletins saying just crazy stuff to me, like about me. And like, what did he say? I
can't remember how the bulletins even worked.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, it was essentially like how you send it down your feed now on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, like you had to open them. Like it would say like, oh, the bulletin with this person, but you have to open them and then read through it. But yeah, it was like a chain note, essentially. Like a note being passed through school type of thing. And he would say some like crazy stuff in it, like, you ain't even that cute. I seen you without your makeup on. Like just weird stuff. And then I would, of course, send stuff about him. And I would just be like, okay, all I gotta do is talk about your pee-pee. Do you really want to? Like, I was just back and forth. And we would do that, and then we'd get back together. And then we'd break up, and then we would get back together. And it was so toxic, and it was so horrible. And it wasn't love. It wasn't love. And for a long time, I was like, yeah, that was my first love. And then I had to be like, no, that wasn't love. Those were two teenagers with hormones figuring out life.
Exactly. Mine was like, he would like record "Let It Burn" on his S machine, and it would be for me like, it's funny because it wasn't. It's just like what it was, high school stuff. Yeah. Like he would play "Let It Burn." I'm like, no, he didn't. And then I would be like, was that for me? And it's just like the breakup, or then yeah, or I'm about to flirt with your, like, he would flirt with my friends, and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, it was like toxic. Or I would always break up, and then he'll be crying and sad. And so it was just like, I was always the run, like how you said you were like, no, I'm done with this. I was a runner. I was that runner that the track star song. I'd be laughing every time I hear that song. I was like, that was my life. She's a runner. I would be laughing. I'd be cracking up because I was on the run. Like, you did this? Oh, we broke up. Okay. Oh, 3 weeks later. Okay, are we back together now? I was just broke up for that time. So I was a toxic person too.
No,
for a while.
Somebody actually sent me that song with the message, so they finally made a song about you. And I was like, what? And I listened to it, and I was like, I mean, he's not wrong.
That's why. But why was I like relating to the song too? I be laughing at myself. I'm like, that is so funny because it's true. Like this, if you listen to those words, I ain't got time.
I mean, I really feel like he meant it as a diss.
He probably did, but
I was
like, oh yeah, it really is.
You on to something? Look at you with your comprehensive skills.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, same. Just those high school relationships normally weren't that great. But yeah, just a lot of immaturity, a lot of letting business out in the street that shouldn't have been out in the street.
Right.
But then I think as an adult, I had one where again I was the toxic one, and I was the toxic one just because I wasn't in love, and I knew I wasn't in love, and I was with them because of how much they loved me. And that's me just being 100% honest. That's me doing some growth and some healing and looking back and reflecting. They were a great person, and they still are a great person. And they were a person who loved me so much that he loved us enough for the both of us. So he didn't care that I wasn't meeting his needs. He didn't care that I was not pulling my weight at all in that relationship. And he didn't care. Like, he was just so lucky, or felt so lucky to be with me and to have me. And it got to the point where I had to back away because I was like, you're never going to back away. And you actually are the person who deserved better.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having to back away out of like, I want you to go off and be so loving and so great to someone who is going to appreciate that. Because he is going to make somebody an amazing husband. And I felt like, I was holding you back.
To get there, you know what I mean? It takes growth for you to understand that and get there and not hold him back from great possibilities and everything. So
yeah, I think so. I definitely think
he probably didn't see it like that at the beginning. They never do, but if they need to understand, like this is for you. Because you need to have more self-respect and love for yourself than to cling to a person who shows they don't want you, or maybe you just never been loved in that right aspect. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, even for me, with some situations, I'm like, if it ain't happened by now, like, you can't make so many excuses. And he probably made so many excuses. Like, she needs me to love her this way because I understand her, blah, blah, blah. But after a while, just look at the reflection of how they're not reciprocating the same love.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I tell him all the time too, like, don't worry, the universe came and was like, okay, Rest got something for that ass. And karma hit me immediately because then I fell for someone who couldn't love me the way I was loving them. I felt someone who had so much mental health stuff going on. I just don't think they were capable. I don't think they were capable of loving anybody at that point in time.
Karma happens.
Huh?
Clearly. I said karma happens. Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly, like you, like him, sorry.
Hey guys, this is Russ, and we're just taking a quick break so I can tell you about my other podcast called The Overlooked Podcast. On this podcast, I go over missing people of color, missing cases. I typically look into cases that have little media fare and are very little known. Our hope is that we are able to bring more attention to these cases, get more information out there so we can bring those loved ones back to their families. We can give their families some type of closure. I ask that you head over to our Instagram page or look us up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Anchor. Again, that podcast is named The Overlooked. And you can find a link to it also in our link tree in our bio. Thanks, guys.
So, like with you, he loved you unconditionally and he gave you all that love, and then you went to, like you said, a person that, couldn't show it the way you needed it to be shown. And then, like with me, the way I treated the person that I was madly in love with and how he kept showing me love. And then the next person right after that, I always say to this day, that was karma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were not taking in that blessing that was in front of you, and now you have to really struggle with this hot mess of a person.
Mm-hmm.
So karma is real. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, karma is real. If y'all wondering, like, sis, karma, when you gonna get him? He gonna get his, sis.
He gonna get it. He gonna get it.
Oh,
and I seen that firsthand too. So
yeah. I definitely have seen that firsthand. I've gotten it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it firsthand. Well, even the guy who I was talking about earlier, where I was just like, and he married someone from my hometown, same sign as me, certain features exact same. Very quickly after, he got his.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he got his. That marriage didn't last 6 months.
Yeah.
And the marriage, because won't go through that, but ruins his reputation. It a whole bunch of things happen. And when I laughed. Like, I was trying not to, but yeah, my reaction was like, all right, well, you were my karma. You now got your karma. I think my circle's all karmaed out. So now maybe we can all go live our best.
Now we're ready for the next stage. Because we got our karma. We learned.
One of them, the good guy, he got his, and now he's happy in a relationship as he deserves.
Wait, who we talking about? Because mine?
No, I was talking about mine. The first one.
Okay.
Where I was like, where I was that asshole.
Okay, sorry, that's me trying to figure out who the person. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No. But no, like I got my karma from him. And then the person who hurt me, they got their karma from whomever. And now where everybody's been hurt, so now the love circle's supposed to start. And person number one, he has found someone who loves him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's now getting the love that he deserves.
That's what matters most.
Yeah. So eventually,
my person is too. My person is married, but at one time, I felt he wasn't happy, but I think they're good now. So they're married and happy, has kids. Probably everything he wanted, and she was able to give it to him. So
yeah. And the same. The person who's like, I was the asshole too. He is able to get the things that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to get her to cook. He was never gonna get me to be able to cook. And I'd be so proud of him, because every now and then he's like, "Yeah, my girl cooked me dinner," and I'm like, "Oh, let me see." And by the way, I'm only in communication with him because we have a child. we have to be. That's the only reason why me and him are in communication. And he'll show me a picture, and I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "She did that?" Like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay. Well, let me know if my baby likes it."
And he seems happy. And I mean, he deserves it. He deserves that happiness.
Yeah, definitely.
But now I'm done being toxic, and I, would like to be a part of the happiness now. I feel like I've done
I learned my lesson.
so much. Right. Like, I've done so much. Y'all recently sent me something that would have tempted the hell out of me. Just 2 years ago. Just 2 years ago, I would be like, oh, let's go be toxic for like 4 months.
Right.
And I'm not.
I'm good.
I'm good. I'm trying. My heart is not to. Being in toxic relationships as an adult is a whole different experience than the teenhood. I did a toxic situationship as an adult where the other person had a lot of mental health concerns. And I wasn't fully aware of his mental health concerns. Because of his profession, I knew there was going to be certain things that came, PTSD. I knew out the gate. And so he was honest about that. But then over time, I'm like, no, there's some other stuff there. And slowly over time, he revealed to me there's some other stuff there. And by the time I was like, I'm done, I don't even think I got the last diagnosis, but we were on diagnosis like number 3.
Wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't aware of that. And of course, people with mental health issues deserve love. I'm a person with mental health issues. I deserve love. But also, I try to be very honest with people about it. I understand for certain diagnoses, you don't want to run around telling everybody. But like the moment I'm like, okay, I'm going to let you in. I want to make this a thing. And I want to talk to you and I want to see your face daily. Then I let them know, like, hey, just by the way, I get depressed. And sometimes this is what depression looks like. Okay? And if at any moment in time, you're like, hey, you're scared than usual. You've been spending a lot of money. You've been talking really fast. Hey, I'm in mania. I'm going to need you to understand it might be a couple days so I'll come back down.
Right.
Please make sure I don't do anything dangerous. I'm going to keep fingers to yourself, please. And I think that's the fair thing to do. They did not do that to me. I had to guess everything along the way. And at the end of the day, it just ended up being way too much for me. Because also, I was a new mother. I was a newly single mother. And it was just too much. It was just too much. And it was like, he was like an onion. He was the Shrek onion. The more you peeled back, the more layers there were. Every time you thought, like, okay, I'm going to peel this back and that's going to be him. Nope. Now you stumble along mama issues. Okay, there's mama issues. I'm going to stumble this back in. Nope. Also, there's a personality disorder. Okay. Let me stumble back in. Nope. Like every single time it was something new. And on top of that, neither one of us were good at expressing our feelings. So we will both just go around assuming how each other felt. Right. There was a point in time where I got tired of that because I had someone, and this is a person I ended up being in a serious relationship with, getting engaged to, all of that. But I came across a person who was expressive with himself. I was like, hey, I like you. I like seeing your face. I hate when I wake up and I don't see your face. I would like to start waking up seeing your face. And meant it. And was doing the action behind that. He was doing the action behind that without any other girls, any other distractions. And so I ended that. And then so when I was in my other relationship, he wrote me this long letter where he decided that was the point in time to tell me all his feelings. And it was like, at that point, I was engaged. I was pregnant. I don't know what you want me to do, sir. I don't know what you want me to do at this point in time. Like, I and now am in something stable. And that's when you thought it was the best time to come back and now try to discuss feelings, something that you had issues discussing before. Now was the time you thought it was to talk about long-term future plans when I'm already in long-term future plans with someone else. It was just really odd. But what about you, Neat?
Situation. um, I wasn't getting the love that I needed. But I wasn't in a committed relationship with anybody, so I didn't have to only give so much stuff to anybody until somebody wants to step up to do it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't getting that love that I needed, so somebody else stepped up, and it happened that way. And then things happened with that relationship, and then we just happened to try to work it out again. But I guess the toxic situation was trying to keep working at it when you're not on the same page, or it's going back to the miscommunication. That was the toxic trait that we had, was the miscommunication, resentment from the past, of the choosing. But if we would have used correct communication skills at the beginning, to see where we both were and be letting it be known, or communicate each other's needs, so much wouldn't had happened. So yeah, so it's almost exactly the same. We both had kids, and then we both tried it again, and it still didn't work. Exact same. But not exact, because there's other ways out. He didn't marry anybody, but that man ain't probably gonna marry nobody because he don't know what he want. So, but it's just like, it's hard. Like, I'm not saying going back is always a bad thing, because sometimes it could work. But it's still like the communication aspect in it, and mental illness plays a part in situations too, and being able to just be open and talking about it. I think that's my biggest thing that's toxic, is the miscommunication.
Yeah, I agree. And I definitely think once formerly toxic relationships can become healthy, but it requires both partners to want to become healthy for themselves. And then coming together and being healthy together.
Yeah.
Also, because like when they're only becoming healthy for you, that's a whole thing as well.
It's not real though. Yeah. It's not gonna last. It's not gonna be long lasting though when it's just for the mate at all.
And I'm trying to think if I know of any unhealthy relationships that end up turning around. Princess Peach and Mario.
Mm-hmm.
And Mario.
Mario?
It's the Mario.
I don't think I know who Princess Peach is.
She's the one that keeps getting kidnapped on the video games, the Mario Go-Kart.
Oh.
I could just tell that you had a whole different Mario in mind, and you was just like,
yes. I'm like, who are we talking about?
I don't get it.
Is she a actor?
Yeah, no. Mario Go-Kart, childhood shit.
Yeah.
Their relationship seems to not have been healthy, but you know what? At the end of the day, he kept saving her. And it would end with her kissing him. So, you know, they worked through their stuff. And again, I'm not against working through stuff. I'm against working through stuff with someone who has made it clear they don't think there's anything to work against or work through. Because you will have that. You will have people that you love and that you're like, okay, I want to make this work. I want to do the work, and they're like, nah. Or they say yeah, and they just won't.
They don't. Yeah. They just agree for you to hear them say yeah, but they don't.
And the problem with toxic relationship is that it will eventually start seep into every part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know when I was in a bad relationship, it messed with everything. Like, it messed with me when I was at work. It messed with me when I was in school. Because just little things, like, now I'm starting my day off angry because you called me with some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Right before I had to walk into class.
Right.
And now I am in class trying to concentrate, but I feel a need to send you a text cussing you out so you know where I stand.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't pay attention.
You can't focus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or now, I am thinking about my plans for the future. But because of our toxic bullshit, I'm like, well, I don't know. Because I know he says he's not going to leave Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And girl, no, leave him. Leave him in Atlanta. You can't find good men in Atlanta. I think we have all come to the conclusion.
Yeah. That's a hard part when you start allowing them to dictate your future or dictate your plans. It does affect you. It affects you like motherhood. Like,
yeah.
Well, you said you was gonna. Are we gonna go on this trip? Are we gonna do that? Well, I could be spending that time with my child. Like, anytime away from my child for something that's not like beneficial to me or her, it angers me. So I don't like at work. You're just like you said. I can't focus or anything. And when I'm like thinking about it too much, I don't like that affecting my whole life. I don't like that feeling, and I get angry. So
I agree with that. Yeah, because I'm an overthinker.
I am too.
So it's going to stay on my mind. What the argument we had, the fact that I'm feeling unfulfilled, that's a big thing for me. The feeling of feeling unfulfilled, is always a heavy feeling for me. I'm always very, very aware when I feel unfulfilled. And so it's never like just this little thing. Once I get that feeling, especially in relationships, it drags with me wherever I go. When I'm out to dinner with my girls, drinking, having fun, I'm still very aware that I'm about to go back home to this man that cannot fulfill the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's what I say. It just, it overtakes everything, So it's just like, is this worth it?
Yeah. But I know, like, a big part of it for me, once I started healing myself, I've stopped being involved in toxic relationships. It's so much easier for me to spot them, or situationships. It's so much easier for me to spot them. And even though I would say I only had 2 as an adult, and one I was the perpetrator, it definitely, just since I've started working on myself, it's definitely helped me recognize right away when something has the possibility of being toxic. And because I'm able to recognize that, I walk away before stuff will start.
Right.
I recognize, like, okay, something off about you here. So I don't feel like there's no need for us to investigate further. Versus when I was younger, I feel like I gave so many more chances. Like, no, that ain't even technically a red flag. It's just pink. It's fuchsia. Let me explore a little deeper. Versus now, I'm just like, no, you know what? I don't know. Your anger seems like it's a thing. I know right now it's not directed towards me, but the fact that little minor insignificant thing
it would make you to that way. Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. I'm good. You're right.
We don't need to continue. Oh, you're over talking me and you're talking to me in a very condescending voice. This is only our 3rd, 4th date. Yeah, no, I'm good.
there's no reason we need to continue.
You haven't called me in 3 days, but you're back acting like you didn't call me in 3 days. Like, that's cool. Yeah, like, that's stopping it now too.
I'm curious to hear, guys. If any of y'all have y'all opinions on what it's like for men, I'm very curious for y'all to write in and let us know. Because I feel like our perspective would be different. Like, nah, because y'all toxic. We are, but you know.
We have our toxic moments, but yeah, the guys, I would like for them to chime in.
Yeah, but I feel like I help myself being attracted to toxic situations, relationships, and stop being that partner. The more I got to know myself, the more time I spent with myself, understanding my pains, my hurts, what was going on in my unconscious, and then recognizing what my limits are as well.
Working on, like, everything you said, like growing to learn, like you said, the limits, or what I can take and what I can't, or just learning signs and not trying to change the red flags. I have definitely grown to see, like, this isn't for me. I'm gonna stop right now. Because I was a fixer all the time. I gave so many chances. And like I said, I've still given chances within the last year. But just learning to, like, let go and be like, these are the signs. They're black and white. Like, they're showing you this to your face. It's like just accepting and moving on and learning toxic behavior when you see it and call it what it is instead of sugarcoating it.
I 100% agree. Being able to recognize that. Also, don't go to your toxic friends to help you recover from your toxicity. Because I do know, with the person I was being toxic to, I had a friend who was toxic. In regards to, like, how they handle relationships was toxic. And they were just giving you the most toxic advice ever. It's like, yeah, girl, I feel like he playing the field and you should play the field too. Or we can break up. Like, or we can break up.
Yeah, like,
why
You do have to be worried of who you seek advice from. Like, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, sometimes it's blind leading the blind, but you know who your friends are that are going to be like, okay, girl, you're fine, let me come get you. And who your friends are like, okay, girl, I got a ski mask, I got some gas, I'm going to need you to run when you hear Lil Wayne pumping in the background. That's our go time.
That is the cue.
And I think all of us got somebody like that. When that situation happened last year, and I called Steph about it, it was too late.
He tell you to do all that stuff?
No, all those bad things are my own idea. I did that myself.
What did you say?
No, that came out of my own mind.
No. I was laughing when you told me, but that's real good, bro. I wouldn't even think about all that.
Yeah, for legal reasons.
For me, like, the quiet ones be the worst. Like, I don't know, I'll probably wake him up. I'd be so aggressive. I used to be like, not now at all, but I can see myself just waking up and like going off and putting stuff in his face. Those things in his face, on his face. Like, what is this? Like,
no, I had honestly, he talked me down from some stuff. I had some other ideas that like they were gonna make a really good Lifetime movie about me. I mean, my ass was gonna end up in jail, but my Lifetime movie was gonna be the jam. No, she talked me out of a lot of stuff. Yeah, I told you what the original ending was supposed to be. I told you the original ending, but no, I just, legally I did nothing. Hypothetically,
nothing.
I just made it clear that I was not pleased with how he handles certain things, and that I would like all communication cease. Yeah.
That was it.
And then that was it. And then you know what I did next?
Do we really want to know?
Look, I put LeBron back on the shelf. I actually kicked LeBron off the team. And then I headed on to D Wade's house. That's what I did. So we're good. We had a whole backup plan.
Yeah, that's sometimes you have to be.
That was toxic. That was a toxic way for me to end that. But up until then, that was not a toxic situation. It was.
It wasn't. It is.
But I mean, and also I think a big part of stopping yourself from getting into toxic relationships is something that needs to be studied as well. Why am I attracted to this? Why, even if it's only once or twice, it's like, okay, but we need to figure out why that wasn't ever able to happen.
And if the first time it's good. I mean, you learn from it. But like, if you keep going, like, and this is your norm, why is this your norm? Let's analyze that. Let's take time to ourselves to figure out what is the attraction. It takes time to learn. Like, if I see this again, I'm going. You know what I mean? I had a friend. Like, she went from one bad situation to even a different type of worse situation, but still staying in it. And it's just like, why do you think this is okay? Why do you keep doing this?
It's some type of cycle. She got to figure out which cycle it is so she can break it. Yeah. No, I had a girlfriend as well who just like same thing, like would go from one decent situation to a bad situation to a bad situation to now at the worst situation. And we've had this conversation like, hey, you started off decently. Like, maybe it wasn't your Prince Charming or whatever. And I get that. Just don't stay with him if that's not what you want. But the thing is, you left him and then you went and got worse and worse and then worse. And now we're dealing with, okay, every relationship after is a progression lower. And we need to figure out why. Why?
And it's like you have to stop. You have to stop in the middle of somewhere. Somewhere you gotta stop. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I mean, also keep in mind, some people don't want more. And there's some people who are like, no, this is how I was taught to love. This is how I feel comfortable loving. I don't want to learn how to love another way. I don't want to learn how to receive.
Or they just don't want to be that person. Yeah. Or sometimes those people, like when it's like the person I'm talking about, like how toxic it is, I'm thinking that they just want to be a caretaker. Like, I can fix them, I can do this, I can do that. And it's just like, girl, no, you can't. So,
but it is finding out what those things are for her as a caretaker. The person I'm thinking of, they want control. They were in control. They were in relationships before where the partner had more control. And the partner knew that she loved them more. And not only do you love them more, but they have more control. So the partner put them through stuff emotionally where it was just really harmful for them and harmful for their heart, And I think after that, they were like, okay, I will never again be with someone who feels like they got the upper hand. And I think after that, she dated people who needed her.
If she could take care of them.
Well, not even, where she got to have the control.
Basically, the man wearing the pants.
Yeah,
But you're
she's very alpha personality type, and she was like, okay, so I got to start dating beta males. And it's unhappy, and so it goes to a different beta male and is unhappy, and it's like, well, because the real problem is you don't feel secure in loving someone at the same level as you.
Yeah, it's just sad.
I mean, it's realistic. I was watching a TikTok earlier today. I gotta find it and send it to you. Where it was a girl, she was talking about how her and her best friend married each other. And she said, they got to a decision where they were tired of dating and they were tired of attracting toxic people. And they both just wanted love and security. And they're like, no one loves me more than my best friend. And no one makes me feel more secure than my best friend. And they're like, we still want to have children. We'll have children through our own means. And we got a house together. We're going to raise our families together. Blah, blah, blah. And there were certain comments, but besides those comments, one of the things she said, she was like, I used to always attract toxic people, and toxic people were attracted to me, but with her, she loved me, and blah, blah, blah. And all I heard was escapism. All I heard was I got hurt, and I attract people who hurt me, and I'm attracted to people who hurt me. So in order to stop that, I'm just going to be with this person who I already know, who I know is emotionally safe, instead of growing myself and doing the work to find out why I'm attracted to this pattern. Yeah. And the thing that sucks about that is like, one, if there really is no romantic love, and I don't know if I believe that, but if there really is no romantic love, then one of y'all are going to eventually run into someone and find that romantic love. And now
mm-hmm. So they were saying there was no romantic love?
Yeah, they were saying platonic marriage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to send that to me.
Yeah, I'll see. I gotta go back to my history. Y'all, I'm sorry. I started taking zinc pills again. Because apparently I need some more zinc in my diet. But zinc makes me very nauseous. And I was told if I take them later and I take them right before I ate, that it will work. And I've been nauseous this whole interview. And I'm sorry, I just feel myself going in and out, in and out.
Yeah, so we covered pretty much everything
I think so.
About toxic relationships. If you guys want to share with us stories or anything about us, let us know. We're here to listen.
Yes, and definitely send in your toxic love stories or your stories of learning from your toxic love and going to find better. Honestly, if y'all could DM those to us, I would love to have like a listener episode where we just read off the stuff y'all sent us.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. Yeah. And I like success stories too. So like when you learn from them too, that would be great too. A little bit of everything. We won't be saying any names or anything, but that'll be a great thing to do.
And keep it anonymous unless you specifically ask us to share your name.
Let him know. I moved on. Let her know I moved on. So
I want him to know the statute of limitations have passed, and it was me that burnt your car. Damn, what?
Right. What you gonna do now?
That you please not get us involved in any legal bullshit. Google the statute of limitations in your state before writing.
Right.
Last thing I need is us to be subpoenaed off the job. First of all.
No.
Right. First of all, my job just sent me 3 subpoenas.
Ugh.
Yeah, so if you guys have stories you want to send in, please do, and we'll go over that. I mean, pretty much our premise is just
toxic love bad, and it's something you need to grow out of. Like, it's something you can't get out of without doing the work, the emotional work on yourself. If you want to keep the same partner, they have to do the emotional work too. Because either they're going to stop your growth or stunt your growth.
Yes, yes.
And so it's always best to figure out, like, okay, if they're not going to do this, do I really want this? Do I really want healthy things for myself? And be committed to it, because growing yourself emotionally safely sucks. And it's hard. It is very hard. I'm still in the midst of it, and I hate it. I hate it so much. But I look back and I'm proud at how I handle certain situations now, how I handle certain conversations now, the shit that I walk away from that I know there's a part of me that wants to explore. But having that growth, having that emotional maturity that says, no, because you know where that leads, and that's not what you want.
Yeah, it takes a lot to grow, but it's worth it in the end.
I mean, that's what they say. I ain't there. So.
Yeah, kind of go. But I think it is. I mean, I haven't fully grown either, but I know I'll be happier once I get there. I'm gonna be wishful thinking, I guess. Wishful thinking.
Well, when Neek gets there, she gonna let us all know. I'm gonna keep pushing forward. I'm just not happy about it. Like, every time.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Every time the universe is like, okay, Chris, it's time to level up again. No. Keep me at this fucking level. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm good at my level. I don't need any more levels.
I don't need to be any more emotionally aware. But I do want to say, one of us, you listeners as well, one of us need to get emotionally well enough to write books about how to become emotionally well, because I'm so tired of the books. So I'm reading some books. I share some of the passages from different books I'm reading with you guys, and they have a lot of good information, but so many of them are written so fluffily, is that a word? Where it's just so much fairy tale fluff before I can get to the actual good stuff. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off to the highest degree.
You go ahead and write that book. You go ahead and write that book.
Want to. First of all, y'all know I'm dyslexic. I don't. I would need a ghostwriter. But no, because I was reading this book, the self reparenting yourself book I was talking about last episode. Still reading through it, and like, there was this one chapter I started earlier today, and it was just like, yeah, because you can. You're a fighter. When you think of strong things, you go. Because you have and it was like 3 pages of that. Before she was like, so anyways, working on forgiving yourself. First key is, I'm like, okay, that's all I needed. That's all I needed. I just want somebody.
Why did you just start there? Yeah.
To start a book or focus on emotional intelligence and not tell me about their grandpapa and how, like, I'm so sick of Papa. I just let Papa go sit in the pasture. I just don't understand why I keep having to talk about him. I want someone to be like, yo, you know how you keep dreaming about that man? It's because you go to sleep after scrolling through and stalking all his pages. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Follow me for my next tip. Like, I just want someone to put it that way. Mm-hmm. For those of us that ain't
get to the point,
so
yeah.
Just like, oh, soften. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I shouldn't look up what the new girl looks like. That would help me to get over it. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Whatever you need to heal. So yeah, also, if any of y'all are thinking about writing a book, if y'all will write that book, I will endorse it. I'll read it. I'll rate it, review it, and I got y'all. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to get things published, but I'll help you figure
I said promote it and everything.
What you say, Nick? Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many trash books with good insight. And you gotta read through all the trash to get the insight. Sucks. But I think that's it. I think we're gonna wrap it up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Guys, please take a listen to the social work episode. Like, if you already did and you're like, no, it just wasn't for me, I respect it. But every week, y'all know me, I'm the statistics person. I'll go and I'll check, and y'all are blowing up every other episode. I don't know if it's new people coming on that didn't listen to past ones that are now catching up on the past, or you guys are going back and just listen to your favorite episodes. There's one particular episode, I can't remember which one, but it feels like each week it gets 10 new listens, even though it's an old episode. Yes, it's imposter syndrome. I feel like every time I look at it, every time I look at our stats, it's like 10 new listeners. And I'm like, okay, how do we spread this out? But give it a try. I think you like it. It's funny. I think I've cut off all the illegal things. That would have got anybody in trouble.
I think you do. But please don't listen.
I feel like I did. Okay. Yeah. Also, please like, share, subscribe, share different posts that we make. Subscribe wherever you listen. You guys are doing great subscribing on Spotify. We have really good Spotify numbers, and Spotify is only 13% of our subscribers, which you guys are, y'all that listen on Spotify actually subscribe. I don't know what's going on with Apple. I haven't figured it out. I'm gonna eventually get their stats. But yeah, you guys are doing great. But yeah, please write reviews if you can. Again, it just helps, one, to let us know if we're on the right track or if we're falling off track. But also it helps with the algorithms of how they show new podcasts to other people who are looking for new podcasts. When you are a small content provider, they don't really show you to people. They like showing people that already have a good following. So try not only with us, with other content providers that you like. Share their stuff. Go on Apple Podcasts, write them a review. Don't just leave stars, write an actual review. And share our stuff on social media, and then save it. If you're like, I don't feel comfortable sharing this because Russ is wilding out in this clip, that's fine. But if you save it, that actually does something for the algorithm as well. Also, you can always just send it to me as well. I already listen to my clips like 80 times a day, so it's fine. Just send it to our page. I'm like, oh, yay, there we go. I don't think we have any other news to cover. We may be off 1 week in May. We're gonna see if we can get you guys something popping that week. Steve, me want to do a solo one. But just so y'all know, there's a chance that we will be flying. We will have a break one in May. Also, I want to get you guys' opinion on video. Didn't want to do anything with video, but a lot of people have suggested that doing reels and so forth. You guys would like to see us do reels, so if that's really a thing, let us know. One, y'all, we don't know how to do reels. Like, that's the first thing. Also, it's very things that go on the internet stay forever. You know, we got whole careers, so until this starts paying more than our whole careers, you know, it's just something we gotta be mindful of.
Alrighty, guys, we are going to wrap it up. I hope you guys had a great day. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the weekend.